how funny it is. You're selling land to me now, but I'm not the owner until the state gives me a document saying they've sold to me. And that gives me a number of years. Some states do 99 years, some do 50 years. They can hold the land.
Wow.
So technically, we don't have absolute ownership of land. We are all tenants of the government.
Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Temi Chris's Musings. Today's video is going to be about real estate investments and acquisitions, and I have on the channel with me a guest, a lawyer. His name is Sesi Hundeyin. We had a chat about real estate investments, real estate acquisitions, how you can protect your property from fraudsters and land grabbers, what documents you have to acquire to make sure that your property is fully secure and in your name and legally backed and recognized by the government. We also touched on tenancy matters and agreements. I hope you learned something from watching this video. So without much ado, welcome with me, Sesi Hundeyin.
Real estate is actually, like you and I know, it's any property attached to the ground, to the earth. So houses, airlands, buildings, any structure really is real estate. And because we live in a country, our country is governed by laws, primarily our Constitution of Nigeria, and that law gives every Nigerian a right to own immovable assets. That is what cannot be moved. That's real estate. You have a right to own, to dispose, to buy, and any kind of ownership or to acquire. Then the Land Use Act, primarily 1978, is a law that specifically, guides transaction that has to do with land, real estate. And what everybody should know is that in Nigeria, you and I don't have, under the law now, we don't have absolute ownership of land. So let me explain that in a layman's term. So for a layman, if you buy property, say from you, I have bought from Tope, Tope is the seller, I am the buyer. What it entails is that people can only sell to me our own interest in that land. But ultimately, it is the governor of the state that is the custodian of all the land. All the lands in the state are held in trust by the governor. So if me and Tope have a transaction to sell a land property, that transaction is not completed until the governor of the state gives his consent. It's called governor's consent. So it's either he gives you a certificate, you apply for a C of O, what we call certificate of occupancy, C of O, or the governor's consent. So consent is actually, it is one, but it can be a C of O, it can be subsequent consent. So the first time you buy a land, me and you now, you sold a land to me, before the sale is said to be valid in law, I must take that instrument of sale, purchase, which is agreement, to the governor, the necessary ministry, and I'll get the governor's consent. If it is a first transaction on that land ever, I have to apply for a certificate of occupancy. Now, this C of O is what will now tell me that yes, the state has given me the land. Can you see how funny it is? You're selling land to me now, but I'm not the owner until the state gives me a document saying they've sold to me. And that gives me a number of years. Some states do 99 years, some do 50 years. They can hold the land.
Wow.
So technically, we don't have absolute ownership of land. We are all tenants of the government. That's what people do. In reality, if you buy land, nobody can say, give me the land for government. No, they will not do that. But there are some transactions you want to do with that land, you cannot do with it because you don't have governor's consent. For example, now, if you want to use your land to get as collateral for a loan, which most banks actually ask for. They prefer land because land is actually very valuable and it's very hard to steal. So the bank will not give you a loan if you just say have an agreement with the seller or a receipt. They ask you, where is your governor's consent? Is that a C of O or a subsequent consent? You don't have that land is useless. There are investors want to invest in your business and they tell me, give us your land documents. And what you are bringing to them is not a C of O, it's useless. So you see that even though you can own the land without the governor's consent, technically, it is want to use it for something very, very important. It is basically useless. So that is why in Nigeria, all the land in the states are held in trust by the governor, and they are the ones that now can assign these lands to individuals. So let me stop there for now. So, like I told you before, so in Nigeria, we have the courts, what you call the judiciary. And the judiciary are the arm of government that is responsible for interpreting the laws. So if the parliament at the federal and state level, the House of Assembly, the Senate and the House of Representatives makes laws for the federal government, and the states, House of Assembly, make laws for the state government. It is the courts, judicial arm of government, that can interpret these laws and give effect to this law. So now in real estate, the courts have said in Nigeria that every real estate transaction that does not have the governor's consent is incomplete, it's incoherent. That is the word the judge uses, incoherent, incomplete. So it is not invalid, but it is not complete, it is incoherent. So that is where government comes. So government are the ones that moderate and help individuals perfect title. So if you and I have a transaction for sale and buying of land, you sell to me, I buy from you. It is a transaction that is valid between me and you. You can't say you didn't sell to me. You can't say because I didn't get government consent after I bought from you, it's not valid. It's valid because I gave you money. Money has changed and the contract is valid. That's on one hand between me and you. But between me, the buyer, and the government, it is not complete because under the law, I am not known as the owner of that land unless the governor of the state has assigned that land to me.
Wow.
That is where government comes in. So government actually, I don't want to use word now, facilitate or they hinder. So they are like, although mostly I feel they hinder because the process of perfecting your title, it is cumbersome, it is expensive and very frustrating. So if you don't have deep pockets as an investor, it's a problem. So government basically are the ones that make your transaction have that legal validity. It makes your transaction to be recognized under the law. If the matter eventually gets to court or there's a dispute on that land, then you have a stronger case where your land was assigned to you by the government than where an individual assigns your land to you. So that's basically what the role of the government is in Nigeria.
So
okay, so if you are the seller, I'm the buyer, right? And you already have a C of O that you bought from somebody. The person has sold to you, you have a C of O, but you bought and had a C of O. You want to sell to me now. So if I buy from you, you transfer everything to me. But under real estate, the person selling must transfer all existing title documents to the person buying. The person buying takes everything. You can have a copy, or he takes everything because it's one there now. So that to me, I'm the one that I've bought from you now. I have to go back to the government of that state, asking for the consent of the governor on this transaction between you and I. We are giving a C of O in 2003. I'm buying 2021 now. So I have to go to 2021 now to apply for a C of O. So not for a C of O now, for a governor's consent actually. Consent is what you get. But consent for the first time comes by way of certificate of occupancy. Certificate to show you are the legal occupant of that land from the government. But the subsequent buyers don't get another C of O. What they get is a governor's consent on their document of transfer. That is the agreement. That I, the governor of this state, I consent to this transaction. You pay all the taxes. But the initial transaction between the person on that land and the person is selling to, the person is buying from, that initial one, you have consent of governor. It is evidenced by a certificate of occupancy. But they don't issue it twice. It's only issued once. That is called a root of title. the root, that's the foundation of the title documents on that property. People that are buying and selling afterwards, what they get is subsequent obvious consent, the consent, and they pay all the fees. So that's the keeps transferring to everybody. But okay, now if it sells to me now, and CFO says you have maybe 55 years as the grant from government, you're going to take grant 55 years to use on that land as the owner, and you use the land for like 10 years, and you sell to me. That means you have 45 years left, right? Now
Yes.
I'll go and apply for governor's consent
Okay.
to use the unexpired 45 years that you have on that CFO, because they don't issue CFO twice. So that CFO is still existing, still valid. But now I'm changing the ownership that, okay, this person has sold it to me now. This CFO was given in her name, Tope's name, but Ceci has bought from Tope. So Ceci is his own agreement showing he has bought it. Transfer 45 years that Tope should have used to Ceci. So there won't be any CFO again. But it will be recorded in their system right there in the Lausa or the government registry that this person has bought, and it is bought for the person that had the CFO that 55 years. He's now taking the 45 years that is remaining. If I also use 10 years there and I sell to somebody else again, I transfer 35 years. No more CFO. Remember, the person gets governor's consent on his own transaction. It goes like that. So you have CFO of just once at the beginning. It is governor's consent still, but the evidence is CFO. Subsequent transactions can even be a mortgage. So you use that same property to borrow money in the bank. The governor must give his consent to that thing. He must give consent, even if it's a mortgage. It's not a sin, he has to. So that one, you have governor's consent to that mortgage. It can even be something like you want to use, maybe you want to gift that property to somebody, you want to gift it to your child, you want to gift it. That gift must also have governor's consent, because that gift has to be by a document. Yes, it can even be you want to give your property to your loved ones in your will.
As an inheritance.
And once the will is transferred as an inheritance, and once the person is late and the beneficiary wants to take the property as their own, right? They still need governor's consent, because for you to own the land, remember, the governor is the custodian. So any transaction that is subsequent, the governor must always consent to that.
Wow.
So I tell my clients and I tell people that I work for that real estate acquisition is 90% legal. I don't say because I'm a lawyer, I just say because that is what it is. It's 90% legal, because real estate transaction, the evidence of ownership are legal documents. So the first thing you look out for is that can the person that is trying to sell to you, either as an outright sale or as a landlord letting to you, or whatever transaction you are doing, does the person have a power to transfer? In law, you have a popular saying in law: you can't give what is not yours. So the first thing that this person is selling to you, does he have the power to sell? And how do you get power to sell or not? You look at the document is giving to you. Documents, are they in his name? Does it give enough information about how he or she came to that land? Because land is something that has been here before we came. So the only way we know is when we see documents and we read the history of what happened. We now know what happened. So the first thing is that, does the person have the power to sell? In some instances, most instances, people don't have documents, like all these Omoniles and all these indigenous police communities around that don't have CFO yet. But the law is also clear that you can actually prove ownership to land by proving that you are the first settler on that land. So where I live, for example, now in Lagos, there are people here that settled on this land first, as far back as the 40s, 50s. Those are the original landowners. As they stayed there for many years, they sold to other people, they've taken rent, they sold. They are the owners. So they don't have a document, but they can prove to me that I've been here since the 50s. They can show documents of sale, of lease, all those things. Or I can even see people that say, yes, this people sold to us. You may now be CFO. That is also comfort for the buyer. Once you can establish that fact, then also you have to be sure that land you're buying is not the land that falls within the government acquisition. By law, governments have a right to acquire land compulsorily for overriding public interest. For example, to construct roads, schools, railways, projects that you need roads. So most times, and like in a place like Lagos where you don't have land anymore, so you can just want to demolish some houses on these kind of places. So if your house is in a place where you've acquired already, and most acquisitions have been done as far back as 40 years ago. For example, all the military barracks in Lagos State are government acquired land because the government acquired this land for the barracks, for security reasons, for the police, for the navy, for schools, markets. But at times they don't have the resources to develop those infrastructure at the time they acquire them. So maybe the next regime coming are the ones that would come and develop. So they already have a master plan for every state, saying this place will do this. Like in Lagos State now, Badagry has already been earmarked as a tourist location and farming. So most land in Badagry are under government acquisition. If you don't know, you buy the land, and tomorrow you are told that sorry, once you demolish the land, it's not your own, and you lose your land. So you used to get real estate professionals like surveyors that will go to the site, with you and do what you call land information. Want to get the land information on this land, go to the government, office of the Surveyor General and ask. So put their gadgets there and go and lodge, put in the system and find out this land, does it fall within a location that has been acquired by so that location falls within an area, was acquired by the government. The answer is no, this is safe to buy. The answer is yes, it's not safe. The answer it is acquired, but it is not a committed acquisition. That means the acquisition is one that can still allow you to use it upon paying some fees to the government. So you know where you stand. No, permanently. It's not about it permanently. Once it's not committed, maybe that land, the state, they want to release it back to the community or back to the owners, can actually buy down, but you pay to the government. You pay like you're paying twice, pay to the owner and still pay to the one to buy it back. Yes, so that one is committed. So it's not but committed one, actually, no government will give you approval, no government will give you consent on that land. So that one is a big loss of investment. So look at those issues, title documents, the land, location, government issues, and also establishing the credibility of the owner that is selling things like their ID card, where do they work, who knows them in that community. These are the things we establish legally. So this person, I believe with everything I have and everything I've heard, yes, I'm satisfied that he has the right to sell to me. But I'll sound a little warning here. Don't do this by yourself, a lawyer. Don't. Because documents can lie. And the documents are not, the documents are English language. Truly they are. But those are legal documents where the normal meaning of shall is not the normal meaning in English language. It means something else. So if you're not careful, you think you've gotten due diligence intact. You've not. So always get a lawyer to interpret to you those documents. This is what I saw. What do you think? Give me your advice. No advice to that one I've seen. I've said, I think yes. So that one, they are going with an advice of a professional that is trained to interpret legal documents in real estate. That's what I was how to say that. So you don't say this say that you can look at documents, you're not gonna pay, but don't try it. Always make sure you talk to a lawyer and your own, lawyer that you have engaged, not the buyer, not the seller, and not you have engaged for yourself as a buyer to advise you, not the seller's lawyer now. Because your own lawyer will advise you, yes, will advise you with your interest as a lawyer, don't pay him. The lawyer for the seller will advise the seller based on the seller's interest, but the seller is not paying. So don't see the lawyer of the seller said that they own the place. That's why I bought it. Just not that way. You always have to get your lawyer. That because you are the one that have more to lose if something goes wrong. You're the one because they're putting your money down to buy. The buyer is just selling, taking money from you. So you are the one that have more to lose if something goes. That is why you should hire a lawyer and engage and tell the lawyer you want this to be done, and she will advise you kind of things you should look out for and ask questions so that you'll be sure that that deal you're getting into is going to be a very, very good investment and a very good deal at that. Thank you very much, Dr. So what I've observed in practice is that most people are in a hurry to own property, but they don't really look at. I'm a Christian, and so let me digress a bit. The Bible says that who is the person, who is that man that wants to build a tower, that will not first sit down and count the costs, whether or not he has enough resources to complete it. So if you want to go into an investment now, what is really involved to say you've owned this property? You need to sit down with a lawyer based on the community or the environment where you are. If you're in Lekki, it's not the same thing with Badagry or Ikeja or Oshodi. Or communities have different, customs and practices of real estate that they practice. They are buying from a real estate company, so there are things that they also do as real estate company. So number one is that you have to pay money to the seller. If not, you don't have anything. You say money to the seller, then I would advise that don't pay money to the seller if there is no agreement. All agreement is actually valid, but in law of real estate, you can't transfer real estate title without an agreement. The only way to transfer interest in land in Nigeria is by a document called a deed. A deed is simply a document that is written and is signed by the parties, it is sealed and it is delivered. That's a deed. They call it deed of assignment, deed of conveyance, all sorts. A deed. So you have to make sure this transaction you are going into, and you'll be shocked, Tope. I've seen transactions in millions, not documented. I can't just mention some names. I've advised on cases, I've handled advice. No single, even companies. People can buy from companies like, I don't mention names, some companies. So I don't blame the company, I blame the buyers. And there's no documentation. So that is a risk. So you must know that as you're paying this money, number two, it has to be documented. Then thirdly, you have a saying in law that possession is 9/10 of ownership. If you are disputing a land, I'm on the land, you are the owner, we are not on the land, I am likely to be the person and be presumed to be the owner of that land. Because a reasonable person that's passing thinks the person that is living in that land is the owner. That is human presumption. Unless you now, that's the real owner, I am not there, can bring documents to rebut my presumption, to debunk it, that you are the owner, you bought before me, you have a C of all of those things, then I lose, I don't have anything. So, thirdly, take possession. And possession has a particular way of going about it. It is the person selling to you, transferring interest to you, that puts you in possession. Because you don't know the land, you don't have any interest in the land, there's nothing that connects you with them. So once you have paid money, there is a legal connection. It is the person that is selling to you that puts you on the land. So you must ensure so that you don't say, but if say how you say in Yoruba, and people can sell, they can steal a land can be stolen, can be sold behind the back, or can be sold by, fraudulently, but you cannot use a land fraudulently because the owners will see you. So you have to make sure the person selling to you is the one that puts you on that land, puts you in possession. If it's a house that is a building with a structure, he has to give you the keys, open it for you, the gates, and your tenant there, he has to introduce you to the tenant as the new owner. You've taken possession. After that, if it's a vacant land now, you also take possession by some act of possession. You do your fence, your corner piece of the 4 areas of that land to show my land is east, west, north, south, the pillars. So if anybody's, because most lands are still vacant and people don't know where their land stops. So the corner piece gives boundaries of where your land starts and where it stops. So the corner piece, if you have the money, you can now do fence, and if possible, put a little gate there. So if any reasonable man is coming to that land as a potential buyer, and he sees the land is already fenced with gate, a reasonable man will say, I presume this land is already occupied. But if you are buying land in a place that is still a rural area and not yet developed yet, you can now do something like farming. You can get the land, get people to farm, lease out the land for farming. A land that is being cultivated, the presumption is that somebody is the owner. The person cultivating the land is either the owner or someone leased it to. So you don't leave a land bare, not in a place like Lagos. It does not work. You can prove a case in court that it's your land, or you spend time, you spend money, you spend resources, you win the case eventually, but you waste a lot of time. And if you decide that you don't have time to waste, you tell them, okay, let's give another land at the back. The swamp area, come and stay at the back. You now have to leave your prime place to the back. So make sure it is fenced. You've taken possession, you are exercising act of possession. You don't stop there. You also go further. Get your survey plan. The survey plan now is a document that proves the boundary of your land. This corner piece is only you that know where the corner piece is. But in a dispute, like in court, the court will not follow you to the land and say, where's your corner piece? The court will want to see a survey plan. And in Lagos State, now, under Lagos State High Court rules, you can't do some land matters in Lagos State without, first of all, submitting a survey plan to the judge at the point of filing your case. So a survey plan is very important. And if you want to get a governor's consent too, you can't get a consent without a survey plan and your agreement. You can't. You must get those things in place. After a survey plan has been gotten, you can now look at, okay, do I have the resources now to have fetched my title to get a C of O, so you get a governor's consent? The answer is yes. Well, the answer is no. Then probably once you develop the place, the structure, and all of those things, you need to do that. Then you have mentioned something in your question. You talked about money and all these fees. Now, the interesting thing is that in Lagos State, there's a law. This law is entitled the Lagos State Properties Protection Law, and this law expressly prohibits land grabbing. So you can't sell a land to me and sell that same land to somebody else. It's a crime in Lagos State. As at 2016, when the former governor was in office, he passed that law. That's that Benito law. It's not a law. But that law states that now this act of banning people from selling land twice does not prohibit, does not preclude land owning families from collecting fees for ratification for court judgments and other things. For example, now, if I am family owner A and you are family owner B in Lekki, you are having a land dispute. Family owner A are the real owners. Family owner B, maybe they took it from them and they are fighting in court. You understand? And family A won the case in court. And why the case was in court, family B has sold to people in thousands. And now, because people that have bought that land, they bought what the owner that sold to them does not have power to sell, because it's not the owner. Because I said the owner is family A. So what they bought and they bought nothing. And they will say, come back to us now and give us money afresh.
Wow. So
each per plot, everybody else, I'll leave you alone, or else we'll take the land back. We buy the land, we'll take the land back from you forcefully, or whatever. We'll take the land from you, we'll go to court and we'll challenge you. So you have to pay that money. Or they want a case before you bought the land. You understand? And maybe the lawyers have not been paid, or they want the case. So they have to start paying the lawyers to say, okay, everybody in that place that is buying land now will also pay ratification. So even if land is the between me and you now, Tope and Ceci now, you will go back to the family owners and ratify, meaning that you tell them to give you their receipt, acknowledging them as the original owners, even though they are not the ones that sold to you. I sold to you, but because they have gotten a court judgment now declaring them the winner, the owner of that land, the entire area, everybody must come, because if you don't come to them, there will be no root of title to show how you got that land. You don't have anything, because they are the one that came to that land first. So their own receipt is the root of title. The document to acquire comes on their own family. So that family is cannot get a C of O. It will tell you in Alausa where is your root of title. So you can't escape that. In where I stay, in Lagos, where I stay, if you buy a land as a full plot, you pay 1 million naira to the family.
Wow. Apart from the money for the land?
Yes, if the land is worth 15 million naira, you pay 1 million naira extra to the family. You give their receipt. It's not even, it's a law, it's in the law. So guy who argues. But depending on how connected you are, your lawyer and your agent can negotiate it downward. I've done it this is where we negotiated 500,000 naira because we know them very well and they know us. So we are able to. So those things are not illegal. What is illegal is reselling the land twice, thrice, and all. But you can't collect foundation money. You can't collect money for all those roof. You can't collect it. You can only collect ratification fee, saying we own the land. Because of ABC reasons, we didn't sell to you, but we are the owner. So come back to us now and get a document from us showing that there's a link between you and us, who are the original. Otherwise, you don't have anything. You can sell to somebody else and it's not a problem. Because you don't have anything to link you with them. So these are the things that an investor will sit down with a lawyer and say, where I'm going to buy land, what are the issues in that area? That's why not every lawyer can advise you excellently, because some lawyers are very good in drafting documents. Some, like me, like God's grace, I don't know that document. I know the customs of virtually every area in Lagos State. So I only ask people then, what do they do there? So I know. So I already tell the client, okay, this area, this is what they do here. And to cost you this. Let's put our asks together. Let's go there once and pay this money once, and we get our land. We won't go after anybody again. Otherwise, start having problems with this.
So
But for me, buying from a real estate company, you might not really go through this process. Might just might be a little bit easier because real estate company most time they'll have bought from the money layer, they'll have got to the you just need to get your deed, your survey. Most time they give it to you already, so it's more easier with the companies than with the families and your money layer. So the real estate companies will give you these documents, but you have to know you have to even know what you should collect. That is why I always insist on having a lawyer, because if you don't know what to collect, whatever they give you, you think it is affected, and most times that may not be the case. So even if you are buying from a company, it's not too big an investment. You say, let me retain a lawyer to advise, even though their lawyer will play documents. It does not matter. The own lawyer should advise you on what you are signing, what they are offering you, what are offering you. Will it give you perfect title over that property? Will it give you a title that will make you sleep at night very well?